up, Cinema Shogun here, and basically, we have been sitting here talking about billionaires imploding at the bottom of the ocean for like the last 2 weeks now. And I gotta tell you, it has been absolutely terrifying to think about what happened to those people. It was more terrifying thinking about them, just being trapped in that tiny sub, running out of oxygen at the bottom of the ocean. But imploding is also pretty terrifying. But while we have all been sitting here, scared about what happened to these people, other billionaires decided that it was a great time to launch the first commercial trip to outer space. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Billionaires have still not learned their lesson. They looked at the imploded sub at the bottom of the ocean and they said, "Here, hold my beer. Now's a great time to fly tourists to outer space." $450,000 a ticket. So I'm sure that a lot of the billionaires who were desperately waiting to dive down in the Titan sub have now changed their minds, and instead they're going to fly in outer space with another billionaire. And it's so ironic, it's so weird, it's funny, but why now? It's as if these people have learned nothing. Even if everything was going according to plan, and you had this trip scheduled, I would think that someone with a rational mind would look at the news story that has been dominating the headlines for the last 2 weeks and maybe think, hey, maybe it's not a good time for the first commercial trip to outer space. Maybe right now just ain't it. You know what I mean? Like, look at what happened to the people in the sub. Why are we going to boost ourselves into outer space? Well, that didn't stop these people one bit. What I've learned is that when you got that much money, a lot of common sense and rationale, it flies out of the window, because not only can you afford to do whatever you want, you could afford to pay people, you could afford to pay the naysayers to shut up and to go along with it. So apparently today, here we are 2 weeks after the Titan sub went missing, and now they figured it was a great time to send people to outer space. Let's go ahead and roll this clip. Let's see and learn a little bit more about what's going on here. Hit the thumbs up button. Pray for these people, because it's only a matter of time, ladies and gentlemen. Let's watch this footage and then I'll be right back.
History has been made in space this morning, with Virgin Galactic completing its first ever commercial flight. US correspondent Lauren Tomasi watched it all unfold from Spaceport America in New Mexico. Lauren, good morning to you. Beautiful day. What a sight.
Yeah, it really was, Carl. The VSS Unity taking off with its carrier aircraft this morning from the airspace port here. Richard Branson's base here in New Mexico went up over the New Mexico desert around 15 kilometres. That is when the two aircraft divided and it blasted off into space.
One, release, release, release.
A thumbs up for history. Virgin Galactic this morning marking another landmark moment.
Viva la Italia!
Sending its first paying customers into space.
Welcome to space, astronauts. How absolutely incredible.
The Italian crew sent beyond the skies with a focus of research and a bonus of experiencing a few moments of weightlessness, along with a view very few humans have ever witnessed. Then, time to start hurtling back home.
Pilots are currently completing the backflip maneuver, orienting the vehicle for re-entry.
Where an excited crowd was waiting.
And that is touchdown. The Galactic 1 crew safely back on Earth. Today's successful commercial launch paving the way for monthly rides to space. And it looks like the owner of Virgin Galactic was pretty happy too. Richard Branson taking to Twitter to say, an historic moment. Virgin Galactic's first ever commercial spaceflight success. And we have just spoken to the astronauts who went up into space. Here's what they had to say.
I had the opportunity to look outside and the view, it was amazing, fantastic. So, speechless.
Amazing. That beautiful Italian accent, that's one of the astronauts who was up in the aircraft this morning. Look, the spaces will be opening for commercial space tourism, but they go at a hot ticket price of $680,000.
What about those Italians? They're so expressive with the hair. Looks like he's had a massive night. Thank you so much, Lauren. Talk to you soon, Jane.
Galactic 1, that's what this mission was called. It was a 72-minute trip with a Unity space plane launching from the air, traveling to an altitude of 53 miles, so just past the U.S.-defined start of space. The crew, which included 3 paying customers for the Italian Air Force, conducting experiments and research during their few minutes of weightlessness before Unity glided back and landed smoothly on the runway. Now, I spoke with astronaut Colonel Walter Villaday, who is also slated to travel to the International Space Station with Axiom. Take a listen.
In this case, I was trained to look at the experiments and to follow some procedures. So it was in a nutshell, a kind of compressed space flight mission. And let me say that this kind of approach that both the commercial space flight, Axiom and Virgin, are bringing in this new commercial space flight sector is amazing. It's a great opportunity for all of us.
Now, this really speaks to this new era of commercial space and what it's enabling not only for so-called tourists, but also for governments and researchers, too.
Look, if rich people want to fly to outer space, that's one thing. All I'm saying is the timing, man. Come on. Can you at least let us figure out what happened to the sub before we have to figure out what happened to y'all when you blow up in orbit? Because it's only a matter of time, folks. It's a matter of time. Mark my words, write this down in a notebook, mark the calendar, that on this date in 2023, Cinema Shogun told you all that it is only a matter of time before there's a catastrophe and one of these commercial flights don't go according to plan, and then they're going to blow up or something's going to happen to them, and then we're going to have to worry about that, and then our government's going to spend millions upon millions of dollars investigating what happened to them when they need to be investigating everyone on Epstein's flight list. Oh, sorry, I got something in my throat there. Epstein's flight list. But yeah, it is what it is, folks. This is cool. This is cool. Just like diving down to the Titanic, it's cool. It's not something I would do. I've experienced so many things in life. I've experienced a lot of loss in life, and it made me really value life. And I don't want to put myself in positions where I'm flying on experimental spacecraft or diving in experimental ocean vehicles. You know what I mean? Like, there's some things I get that you want to experience things in life, and I think it's cool that they're doing this, but I'd rather just watch y'all. But at the same time, it's a recipe for disaster. And I just feel like the timing is really off. You saw what just happened. You could have pushed this back a couple of months, something, but no, they went ahead and went along with it. But we are in for a very interesting future. You know, this is just the beginning. And within the next, who knows, within the next 10 or 15 years, flying to outer space may be a common little vacation that people do. Maybe it will become slightly more affordable. $450,000 a ticket. I don't see myself being able to ever afford that. I mean, I wish. But even if I could afford it, that would be the last thing that I would spend $450,000 on. Literally, I'd rather give 450,000 people $1 as opposed to just flying to outer space. But like I said, we're in some very interesting times. And I hope that all of you all take the time to soak that in. Because we are living in a time where we are witnessing a lot of the things taking place that people could only dream of back in the day. When people would predict what the future would be like, we're living in that future right now, so don't let that blow over your head. You know, and even though it's scary, it can also be a beautiful thing as well. So who knows how this is going to go? I'm really curious to see how these different types of commercial flights to outer space, I'm curious to see where they go with this. We know that right now NASA is conducting this weird study where they have locked 4 strangers inside of a replica of Mars, trying to study how they would react to living a secluded life on another planet, you know, trying to survive with each other and things like that. So I think we are gearing up for the possibility of sending humans to Mars. Maybe we'll see that in our lifetime. Who knows? But I definitely think this was kind of cool and kind of interesting, very dangerous. I hope that moving forward, if we're going to keep seeing people risking their lives to blast up in a rocket into outer space, I think that something needs to be done to ensure that taxpayers aren't fitting the bill every time something goes wrong. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a private company that's making private spacecraft and you want to sell private tickets to fly to outer space, then I don't think my taxpayer dollars should be spent on investigating what happened to you once you blow up in orbit. That's all I'm saying. Let me know your thoughts about this, though, down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit the thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I will talk to you all in the next video.